Hey, what's up? This is Cam from the Brother Slim. Fix your microphone a little bit closer. There we go. And Kingdoms Forlorn update. I missed it last week. Turns out my Kickstarter email started going to spam, so I was unaware of it. So we'll do it right now. Wave 1 fulfillment details. So exciting and important stuff. Hi everyone. With KF shipping about to kick off, we're dropping by with an out of schedule update packed with useful info. We've got everything from general fulfillment news to shipping timelines, tariffs, a content recap for Wave 1, and some important reminders about the Pledge Manager. Let's get into it. General fulfillment deets. The finish line is in sight, production is almost done, final checks are behind us, and now it's time for the next big step, delivering Kingdoms Forlorn to your hands. Fulfillment prep is already underway, and here's what things look like. Our plan is simple. With ships leaving our factory early July, we want all games to arrive at regional hubs by the end of August. Once everything clears customs and lands at warehouses, local shipping will begin shortly after. That means backers around the world will start receiving their games in waves, depending on location. As usual, Asia and Australia will be the first regions to see delivery. If everything goes according to plan, we expect those last mile shippings to start somewhere between late June and early July. So, if you're in those regions, just start making shelf space. We'll know once we're on the cusp of finishing production, which will be the first week of June. Yay! For our US backers, we're trying something new to make the whole process smoother. This time, we'll be using 2 warehouses on each coast. That means faster and more efficient deliveries. Once containers leave the factory, we'll share all the relevant details, which ships they're on, their expected routes, and tracking info, so you'll be able to follow your copy of KF across oceans and continents. Overall, we're nearly there. Now, time to address the main topic of today's special update, this beautiful, beautiful monkey man. But seriously, that's sweet. US shipping fulfillment tariffs. A few words from Marson. Neither rain nor snow, nothing has changed on this front. We're moving forward with US fulfillment. This was the plan even before the recent US and China negotiations, as I was betting the tariffs would go down in the next 2 months, as keeping them at that level would spell doom for both the US and China's economies. Lo and behold, both countries agreed to de-escalate the trade war, and the US tariffs were lowered from 145%, a de facto trade embargo, to 30% for at least the next 90 days. This is, unfortunately, not the good news everyone was hoping for. I will echo what COO of Cephalover Games, Price Johnson, said a few days ago, and more recently here. This is not the blessed reprieve some are hailing it to be, and nothing has gone back to normal. Make no mistake, 30% tariffs are still crippling for most industries. Anything above 50% is prohibitive, including most retail board game publishers. Yes, that is important to note indeed. Kingdoms Forlorn is one of the most expensive games manufactured, with a unit price closing in on $100. Developmental costs like design, art, writing, and testing not included. And there's a lot of design, art, writing, and they test their games a lot too. As is tradition, our early backers got an insane deal back in 2022. I still kind of regret getting rid of my pledge, but at the end of the day, I don't know when I'd ever be able to play it, and I've repeated that many, many times on this channel, so while I wish I had it, I do not feel quite the same FOMO as I used to, although I'm sure I will once the deliveries really kick in. However, this means we simply cannot shrug off and absorb the entirety of tariffs. Some costs will have to be calculated into the final cost of fulfillment for our US backers. I'm deeply sorry, I'm not happy about this either. It does hurt us financially too, but this is the only fiscally responsible thing we can do to remain a healthy business. Fully support that. 110% support that. Now, and I mean, I'm some dude in Canada, I'm not in the States paying for tariffs, although I would be if things go through the US first, but you gotta run a healthy business. You can't make risks when things could get worse again too. So, yep, respect that for sure. Now, the upsides. It's not all doom and gloom. 30% tariffs will be crippling for retail publishers, but the nature of direct-to-backer sales allow us more flexibility. We will be eating part of the tariffs to shield you from the unexpected cost. Furthermore, you don't have to fear a 30% increase on our store price /MSRP. The tariffs are based on manufacturing costs, and we don't have to factor in distributors or retailers. The core game will see the most substantial tariff surcharge, and that, after subtracting our contributions, will be less than $15. Cool. As a frame of reference, I think I saw online today that Nemesis Retaliation for US backers, the tariffs are, I think, $7 per pledge. So just as a point of comparison. That said, we want to be smart about this. We are not applying any tariff-related surcharges at this point. In the span of a few months, the rate has gone from 0 to 20 to 54 to 144, 145. It is 30% now, but will likely change in the coming months. The situation is evolving, and there's a chance that tariffs may drop further before games reach the US. That's why we've decided to wait until after the pledge monitor closes on June 26th to finalize any calculations. We simply don't want you to pay for something that you need not do. It's the fair thing to do and the optimistic thing to do. Yep, that's sweet. That's something that GameFound's doing with a little tariff support feature. You can like figure it out after the pledge monitor is closed. Should tariffs remain in place, as mentioned above, we'll work to absorb as much of the impact as we can. Thanks to the direct to blah, blah. Okay, yeah, so the same thing. We just heard about that. We'll keep you informed as the situation develops, and you'll find more info in the Q&A section below. But for now, thank you for your trust, your patience, and for standing with us. We'll do our best to deliver the game you backed. Question: so, why do I have to pay tariffs? We'll go through all this. There might be some interesting stuff. Answer: the United States has put a blank. Okay, never mind. We'll skip that. I think everyone knows that. Am I paying the full tariff? Nope, they're mitigating costs. How much? Okay, well, so these are... Okay, we're going to skip some of these because they're questions that we literally just read through. What about container shipping? Will the cost of containers not surge now like they did after COVID? They are and will. We will be eating that cost too, don't worry. What happens if I don't pay the surcharge? So that's sweet. So some people might get pissed off about the tariff charges, but I mean, like, ITU's been so good to their backers in so many ways, so... some people. But some people will always complain. That's the way things go. Okay. If the rates fluctuate so wildly, what happens if they go back up again? Thankfully, KF will ship within the 90-day pause window, and we're bound by the shipping date, not the arrival date, so we won't be affected by any additional rises. Good to know. What if I just wait out the tariffs and order after they're down? If only it was that simple. We're bringing in the entirety of our US shipment at the same time. If we end up paying the tariffs, the price of the game will include the surcharge regardless of when you buy it. Technically, you may order the game from our EU hub at a later date, but the plain difference between shipping costs will actually be higher than the tariff surcharge. Also, the US has also threatened to put tariffs on the EU. We're at the end of a previous 90-day pause, so we may have additional tariffs on EU orders going to the US. All that provided, we have stock left. Kingdoms Forlorn has been manufactured with a modest surplus, and we've sold through most of that already. You say, if we end up paying. So you may end up not paying them? What about my surcharge then? Due to the erratic nature of tariffs, they've been raised and lowered throughout the year. It's impossible to predict. Blah. Sorry, I'm trying to go through this a little quick, and I am slurring and butchering all my words. We can only hope that tariffs are removed completely by the time KFR adds supports, but we must also be realistic. This is why we're introducing the lowest tariff rate guarantee. If, by the time our shipment comes to the US, we pay lower tariffs, or none at all, we'll give you the option to either get them refunded or converted into store credit in any of our PMs, with a small kickback for helping us carry the load. Question: I'm not a US backer. How does this affect me? Do I have to pay something? No. If you're not based in the US, this does not affect you in any way. However, be sure to pay your shipping fees if you haven't already and update your address. If you've moved, That said, if you're planning to update your shipping address to a US location, the surcharge will apply. So that's a good note. I'm pretty sure all of their games previously for Canada, so speaking as a Canadian, they've air freighted straight into Canada from Poland. So, yay! There's that at least for fellow Canadians. Wave 1 content roundup. Let's take a moment to appreciate again what's actually coming your way in Wave 1, because it's a lot and it looks amazing. I fully agree. We included some fresh photos of all the content below because honestly, it looks too good not to show off again. I agree. ITU, I think, is historically not the best at showing off how amazing their games look. And in the most recent Kingdoms Forlorn updates, they've kind of remedied that too, so being keen on it. Core box, the heart of the game, including 2 kingdoms and 5 knights, jam-packed with atmosphere and narrative deliciousness. Very, very cool. Once again, the UI, the graphic design work is so good. I love it so much. It's awesome looking. 10,000 Succulent Fears expansion. Love it too. Where you can go for a trip underground, face off against new foes, and uncover the mysterious Jura, which is the citadel. It kind of reminds me of Urithiru from Stolen Archive. Oh, and some of you were outraged in the most loving way that we didn't show Sir Stoneface last time. Well, we heard you loud and clear. I did not see those comments, but good stuff. Here he is in all his stony glory. Good stuff. Component list, Nightbook. I freaking love the Nightbooks. They look so good. And the box. Very, very cool. And then we have Little Sir and Princess Slavia. Yes, very fun stuff. Love the little monkey. Clash/Encounter board. I think Encounter is this side, and Clash is like the main battle. Thick, high-quality neoprene mats that can be used instead of the clash board. Fun stuff. Close-up on the dice. I hope that the Normandy dice get a little touch-up and just look like as clean as these ones do, because the ones for the demos they weren't horrible, but they also weren't great, and I don't think they're as clear as these. Okay. Card protectors. Keep your cards safe and sharp through every clash and expedition. Fun stuff. If you haven't seen it yet, we've also prepared an unboxing video of the mass production copy. Don't miss it. Yeah, it's a good video. It's also not too long. Pledge Manager closing date. We'll be closing the KF Pledge Manager on June 26th, so about a month away from now. You have until that time to finalize your orders, including adding any final items, settling your shipping fees and the tariff surcharge, as well as updating your shipping address. Don't leave it to the last moment. After the PM closes, we won't be able to process unpaid orders for fulfillment. If you're unsure about anything or need help modifying your pledge, our support team is here for you. Just reach out to support@itu.com and we'll guide you through it. And don't worry, we'll be reminding you about the PM closing deadline again in future updates, so no one misses it. As always, thank you for being a part of this journey. KF is almost there with us. We hope that this is the very last hurdle we'll need to jump over. One last slur in the last paragraph. Here we go. To deliver the games to your hands. If you have any doubts or problems regarding the surcharge or the Pledge Manager, please let us know. We want the process to go as smoothly as possible. A word salad a lot of that, but there is a lot of cool important info in there. So classic ITU stuff, shoulder as much of the burden as much as they can. And yeah, some folks will probably say that, like, well, it's their job, this project is late, they should have fulfilled earlier, but it's just the nature of crowdfunding. Like, over the last 4 or 5 years in the space, like with COVID and with this, like, it's pretty unprecedented stuff. So like, it is what it is. They're shouldering a burden on shipping, which is fantastic. Hopefully I'm not having a stroke here. And then also assisting with tariffs too. So like, they're doing everything that they can. We want them to be a stable, healthy company for many years to come. So good stuff all in all. Very, very cool. And fingers crossed that I'll get notifications for the next updates, and we'll continue sharing those as we go. But much love, and we'll catch you next time. Bye.